Let's solve an LSAT question together. Pause the video here to give it a try yourself. All right, so jumping into the question, this is a sufficient assumption question, meaning one of these answers is going to make the argument logically valid. Now, when looking at the argument, the flaw is that it takes for granted that just because the matter will be decided, meaning that vote will be decided by the city's voters, means that one member of the city should vote against the proposal. In other words, to avoid this result of the city's voters voting. But what we're missing is something telling us that it's a bad thing for the city's voters to be voting or to make the decision. So we need some kind of premise that kind of fills that gap here. So let's take a look at the answers, and it's likely going to help with that. A, if all the members of the city council abstain in the vote on the proposal, the city's voters will definitely decide in favor of the proposal. Well, this looks pretty good. However, we also don't know that this is necessarily bad. We might assume this is not what they want, voting in favor, but we can't say that this actually solves our argument or makes it logically valid because we don't actually know conclusively whether or not this is a bad thing. And that's kind of the same argument or the same problem we're having with the argument. So no, A is wrong. That does not make it logically valid. B, the proposal should not be decided by the city's voters. Well, yeah, it doesn't get more conclusive than that. It's just telling us it should not be decided by the city's voters. Therefore, yeah, and we know if they do decide it, if all the members do abstain, then it will happen. So yeah, we can conclude that not all of them should abstain, or in other words, one at least should vote against the proposal. Yeah, makes the conclusion logically valid, or the argument. C, no members of the city council will vote in favor of the proposal. Well, I mean, we already know that they ought not to. So I guess now we're being told that they won't, but no, that does nothing for our argument. C's wrong. D, if not every member of the city council abstains in the vote on the proposal, the matter will not be decided by the city's voters. Well, I mean, that's just kind of taking our premise here, this second sentence, and kind of just flipping it and making it kind of biconditional where either condition can set off the others. No, I mean, that doesn't, make our argument logically valid. E, if one member of the city's council ought to vote against the proposal, the other members should abstain in the vote on the proposal. Well, no, I mean, this is just taking our conclusion here, our last sentence, and creating another condition that the conclusion sets off. But we need something to come before the conclusion. We need, like B does, B comes before the conclusion and makes the gap between the premise and the conclusion sound. So no, this is totally wrong. And B is the correct answer.